Anyone who's ever played pinball knows that dreaded word, tilt. It turns out this blast from the past is catching on with a new generation. We should note that for our Ben Tracy, this story was a labor of love.
There are still factories in this country where people make things with their hands. And at this manufacturing plant near Chicago, the product they're making is definitely hands-on.
Oh. All right, so full disclosure, I love pinball, so I am biased in this story.
We have something in common. I love pinball too.
Gary Stern is president and CEO of Stern Pinball, one of the few remaining manufacturers of pinball machines in the world. It's a job that comes with one strictly imposed silver lining.
We are assigned 15 minutes a day. We must play pinball. So if you don't want to play pinball, you don't belong in a pinball company.
Obviously, the goal is to make money to keep people employed, but it also seems like a big part of this has to just be fun.
These aren't heart-lung machines. They're pinball machines. It is fun.
Their hot new game is Ghostbusters. It's fitting because when it comes to pinball, there's something strange in the neighborhood. So-called barcades are popping up in cities all across the country. Pinball machines and vintage arcade games are paired with craft beer and a hipster crowd. It's far more social than playing video games at home or on your smartphone. This modern-day nostalgia has helped turn pinball into a bumper crop. Stern has a 2.5-month backlog of orders and has recently doubled the size of its operation.
You've come a long way because during the Great Recession, this was kind of on the brink.
We were on the brink and we came a long way. Tenacious people worked very hard.
Others play hard. Zach Sharp is currently the #3 ranked pinball player in the world.
So when you tell people you are a competitive pinball player, what kind of reaction do you typically get?
He says, but I'm also married.
Yeah, that's right.
His brother Josh and his father Roger play too.
Why do you think there is this resurgence?
Because it's so real. The physical nature of you don't know where the ball is going, and every time you flip it away, you're not sure if you'll ever see it again.
The Sharp brothers compete in the International Flipper Pinball Association. Yes, that's a thing. 10 years ago, it started ranking its players.
And in 10 years, the 500 players have grown to 45,000 players, and the 50 events per year has grown to almost 3,000 events per year.
But none of this may have happened if it wasn't for Zach and Josh's dad.
People say you are the guy who saved pinball.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
But now, a little history. Pinball as we know it descended from an English game called Bagatelle. Then in 1931, an American company released something called Wiffleboard, the first coin-operated pinball machine. But pinball was considered a game of chance, which is to say, gambling. So for decades, pinball was banned in major cities, including Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, where then Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia made a big show of cracking down on the sinful silver ball.
The assumption was that since this was a cash business, people are putting in coins, that somehow the mob is involved.
Which brings us back to Roger Sharp. He was working for GQ magazine and was a well-known flipper fanatic. So in 1976, when New York City Council was debating lifting its pinball ban, they called Sharp to testify. He played a machine to show them that pinball was indeed a game of skill.
I mean, I was basically showing off and calling my shots all along. Did I save pinball? I think I altered its course.
New York legalized the game, and that got the ball rolling again in most of the country. Pinball even took center stage in the Who's rock opera, Tommy. But in the 1980s and 90s, The video game made pinball seem passé.
Who didn't want to play Space Invaders or Pac-Man? So pinball was kind of shunted to the side.
Now it's back and running full tilt worldwide. Stern Pinball exports nearly half of the machines it makes. The company's biggest challenge? Figuring out how to use that quarter mile of wire in each pinball machine to electrify the next generation of players.
What makes a machine a hit?
Magic.
Magic.
Magic. The last 2% of the design is magic. It's just magic.